Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone taught us this truth. And Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right. So I want to do this quick video on this little short. I cut off the brother's page. And real quick, I want to grab a scripture because the people that you just seen, I'm assuming they all had visions, okay, of some sort, right? Turn this off. All right, real quick. This is the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 28. It says, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters, your sons and your daughters shall prophesy." All right, meaning to say before. Okay, they're going to say things that are going to happen in the very near future. All right, it says, "Your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions." All right. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. All right. So individuals are gonna, have visions or dreams of the future. All right. And this is just one of them.
Hey guys, so there's something that I wanted to share with you guys. So I had this dream the other day where I was walking in this building. It was like a government facility. And I was walking on the third floor with this woman. She was a Caucasian woman. We were walking and we were talking in the building. And she worked for the government. She was a government agent. While we're walking, the conversation was very intense. Everybody around us was just kind of, doing their job and everything, whatever they were doing. And me and her.
Right. And why is it intense? Because we are living in those times. Okay. Matter of fact, I was going. Here, I'm gonna hold this. I'm gonna grab that. I think I just brought it out earlier. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, in verse 12. It says, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold," man. Okay, so this is why it's an intense conversation, right? Because we are living in some real intense times, right? Perilous times, right? As the scripture says, man. Matter of fact, I think that's probably what I really want. It's the book of Second Timothy, chapter 3, verse 1. It says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come." All right. This is what uh, she's alluding to, right? The conversation is so tense because we are in very tense and serious and dangerous, right, times. Okay.
We're having a very intense conversation. At a certain point in the conversation, though, she stopped and she was intensely trying to get me to understand something. And I was looking at her, and then she pointed at her arm and she said, like, we are under attack.
Now this is. She said she pointed at her arm and said, "We are under attack." Okay. This is speaking about Jake, right? Because as she goes on to say, she says the lady is a Caucasian. She's an Edomite, right? She may not be though, right? She said we, right? However, let's say she is. She pointed at her arm, and as it goes on, Girlie gonna say that when she pointed at her arm, her skin color looked like hers, like a Jake woman, right? So anyway, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30 and verse 6. It says, "Ask ye now and see whether a man travaileth with child." All right, and we know that men don't give birth to children. It says, "Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins?" So why do I see all these men with their hands on their loins? You know, like they in pain, because these are the times that we're living in. It says, "As a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness." Right, fearful, afraid. Okay, because there's great destruction in the future, very, very, very near future, man. All right. It says, "At last," verse 7, "At last, for the day is great, so that none is like it." Okay, this time that's coming on the earth, these calamities and destructions, okay, that are being cooked up by the Heavenly Father, all right, they haven't been on the earth before. Okay, they never will be again. Okay, these are some of the most here, well, I'll read it again. It says, "At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it, man. No day that has been on this, no day that has been on this earth has ever been a day like this day, man. Like this time." All right. It says, "It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." Man. Speaking about the Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Okay. The elect of Israel, the ones who believe on these names, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, okay, that believe in this doctrine that you are the Israelites, that no nation can be saved but you. Okay, that Yahweh Shai came and died for you. Those who believe in this doctrine, man. All right, but
We are under attack. And then she was like saying, like, these people, like these kind of people, like our kind of people. But she was pointing at her arm, like her skin. So when I'm looking at her skin, though, it's my color. The woman was Caucasian, but when she pointed her skin color was like my color, darker color. We are under attack. Like they're about to be under attack. I don't know how to speak on this situation, but what I will say is that this video is not to instill fear into anybody. I believe that warning comes from preparation. That doesn't mean run somewhere and try to take matters into your own arms and your hands. But that means get down on your hands and knees in prayer and pray to God. That God will protect, that God will keep, and that God will be with us and provide for us in these last and evil days. When she said we are under attack, these kind of people are under attack. it make me think racist attack. All I could say is that we should pray.
Hey, Shalom.